moved into a place I can afford and got stuck. First and foremost, I want to start out the video saying there's a difference between being able to pay for something and not being able to afford things. So we're gonna start from the back. I recently moved into this apartment in August. We're now in December. So I've been here for a few months. The first month was cool. The second month, cool. Coming on the third month, I noticed something. I couldn't really afford it. Now, did I have enough money in my bank account to pay my bills as far as like my rent, gas, electric, water? Yes. But after also taking into account my student loans, my car insurance, my life insurance, my phone, like so many other bills, I was like, dang, I have really no money left over to do fun stuff. Like I don't have money left over to go on trips. I sometimes don't have money left over to get my hair done and nails and all these different things. And then also we all have goals, right? A lot of us want to start businesses. Some people want to get into content creation, so they want a new device or something like that. I say that to say, those things I couldn't do. Those things I didn't have the money for because all of my money was going to my bills. And I just saw it just being a repeated cycle of just like, dang, I thought I could afford this place, but I couldn't. And I thought I could simply because I could just pay for it. And there's a difference between, like I said, being able to pay for something and really being able to afford it. And I didn't really understand that. Now, I know some people are going to be like, before you moved in, you didn't create a budget or you didn't figure out how much it was going to cost. Yes, I did. But like I said before, I assumed just because I had the money to pay my bills, I could afford it. I did not take into account my unfixed expenses, right? The things that weren't mandatory, but the things that I enjoyed to do, whether it was going out with friends, whether it was beauty services, like I didn't take into account those things. I just took into account being able to pay for the necessary things. And also, I'm that kind of person where it's like, when I tell people I'm broke, I still have money in my account. Like, I'm not one of those people that let my account get to like $20 or zero. So I'm also kind of person where I want to have a certain amount of money always in my account because anything can happen. And so I'm just like, yeah, I'm broke. Like, I don't have money to do this. I don't have money to do that because I don't want to touch that savings money. I don't want to touch that rainy day money for things that I necessarily may not need, or you get what I'm saying? Or just things that aren't necessary because I don't want to be in a situation where I need that money and I can't pay for the things that I need, if you get what I'm saying. So y'all know I already have a list, which I'll have every video just not to forget anything. So here are the things that I would do differently or take into account for moving forward, or for anybody that wants to move out of their parents' house, get their own place, move into a new place, all these other things. First and foremost, one question people may ask is, why don't I just move out, right? Because I have a 12-month lease, so I can't leave until next August. Like I said, I can pay month to month. I just can't do leisure things. You should not break your lease unless you have to for more than multiple reasons. It's not good on your credit, first and foremost. When they run your credit to approve you, it's not good on your credit. And moving forward, also going to other places, they can see that your lease was broken. And that just doesn't look good on your credit and just moving into other places. And also, a lot of times they charge a lot of money to break your lease. Like, don't move into a place thinking, oh, if I don't like it, I can just move out, because some people may have the idea. Moving out, it costs like, the most I've heard is 4 times the rent, but it depends on the place. Usually at least 2 to 3 times your rent you have to pay just to move out. So you have to pay that much rent because you live there. And then you also have to pay an extra, even though you're not living there for those months, extra like 2, 3, 4 months rent all at once. If you can't afford to live there on a month-to-month basis, how in the world are you going to afford to pay all that at once? Like that's why I'm not doing. Well, not why I'm not doing that, but that's why I don't advise people to do that. If you don't necessarily have to, that's just not a good thing on you financially and then future purposes. Now, here are some things you should do, right? If you are thinking about moving into a new place and all these other things. Like I said, create a budget, but you need to create a life budget. Do not create simply just a right now budget or just bills budget like I did. Think of your fixed and unfixed things. So your fixed are things that usually don't change. They're going to be constant every month. I look at my fixed expenses as my mandatories. So rent and utilities, which is gas, electric, water, groceries. I'm always need groceries. My phone bill, my car insurance, like all those are fixed expenses. Those are the things that I'm always going to have to pay for. But also think about your unfixed expenses, the things that you may want to do leisurely, the things that may be like going out for drinks with friends, or even if you have a business, right, or you want to start a business, take that into account too. If you have to buy things for your business, take into account getting your hair done, your nails done, all those things. Sometimes people like to convince you, oh, if you're getting a place, you shouldn't worry about those things, da 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 da. Why? My thing is, if you care about those things, if you want those things to be a part of your life, do not let individuals convince you that you shouldn't be able to keep yourself up, or you shouldn't be able to do certain things because you need to worry about moving somewhere. As long as you are in a secure place, and I know sometimes a secure place may be your parents' house and it may be annoying, but it's like at the same time, don't let people confuse you into, oh, you should worry about more of your bills than you worry about looking good. I get what people are saying, right? Don't get me wrong. If you don't have money for it, don't be out here spending money on stuff you don't have the money for. But if you're in a position where it's like, okay, I'm creating my monthly budget, add your hair, add your nails, add those things. Because the people that don't add those things, let me be honest with you, are those same people that be complaining on a birthday. Oh, I wish I had my hair done. And I wish I had my nails done. Oh, you should have put it into your budget. If it's important for you, it's part of your life. Put those in your budget just so you can figure out, hey, am I still able to get my hair done? Hey, am I still able to get my nails done? Or put money into my business or start this. And because at the end of the day, if those things are important to you, those are part of your life budget. Don't only think about rent budget, think about a life budget. And are you willing to, and are you going to be happy cutting those things out? Yes, you may have a place and all these other things, but like, you just want to be in your place sad. Because that's some people, a lot of people have places and they're sad. It's called house poor or house broke, where you can only afford your place. You can't afford other things. And it's not saying everybody like that is sad, but there are a lot of people that wish they can go on vacation. They wish they could do certain things, but they can't. So really ask yourself, are you willing to be in that situation? Create a budget. Another thing to take into account, when is the time of the year that you move in? It's best to move in between winter towards tax season. So kind of like November to April is a good time to move in because most people move in, or I should say, move in places during the hotter months. So June, July, August, September, like those are the times, people really move into places. Those are the hot months, not only heat outside, but when it comes to like real estate and stuff like that. So it's better if you can move in during like the winter times. Me personally, I couldn't because my last place lease ended in August, so I had to find a place in August. But if you can move in during the winter times, it honestly can save you hundreds of dollars a month because a lot of people aren't moving during that time period, but a lot of these places still have units and they need people to fill the units. So they're willing to offer cheaper in rent. Another thing to take into account when you are moving into a place, think about also when it comes to like how much you're going to pay your deposit. So your deposit sometimes is first month, last month's rent. So think of 2 times the rent. And that's something to take into account too. Like, don't just think, oh, you're going to have to pay the 1 month rent. You have to pay that. Now, how the deposit works is they hold your deposit. You get your deposit back once you move out. But you don't always get it back entirely. So your deposit is like just in case anything happens in the house. So for example, my last place, I didn't get the deposit back entirely for a multitude of reasons. Well, not a whole bunch of reasons, but first and foremost, those little sticky things that you put on the wall to hang up pictures, the sticky tacks or whatever, not tacks, but like you're supposed to pull them and be able to just take them off or whatever. They're supposed to be renter friendly. They weren't. They took the paint off of the walls, and we had them up in multiple places. They took the paint off the walls. Moving out, the beds are some of the furniture like chipped some of the wood, like because didn't have like official movers, so it chipped some of the wood, like little things like that. So some money was taken off. So don't think you're gonna get your entire deposit back. It just depends on how well you upkeep your place, right? If you have little things like that, they take it off because they have to pay for those things to get fixed. But remember, you're going to have to pay a deposit, so take that into account. When you are finding a place, start visiting places start visiting places 30 to 50 days before you move in. Do not start visiting places 3 months, 4 months before, because a lot of times these people or these, buildings or whatever places, they have things available in the next 1 to 2 months type thing. Maybe sometime that time period. You don't want to have somebody not like that, but like that. You don't want to waste these people's time. These people would take you on a house tour, and then they're like, oh, when you want to move in? Oh, in like 5 months. But now, of course, months before, look up places, look up areas, have a narrow down of places. But please don't be wasting these people's time. Between 30 to 50 days is when you should start looking at places as far as actually visiting those places. And once you visit those places, first and foremost, I always recommend, especially when you're visiting multiple places, take a recording of the entire place. Now, sometimes they show you the exact unit you'll live in, or sometimes they'll show you something that's like a replica of the unit, or like it's the same unit but just a different, like you're gonna live in 215 but this one is 315. You get what I'm saying? Something like that, in the sense of it looks exactly like it, but maybe that one has people in it right now, or maybe they're fixing it or something like that. Still take a video of it, especially when you're visiting multiple places, because that was a good thing for me. So when I was looking at places, looking back, I was like, okay, wait, now I like this one. Wait, the room here is bigger, right? To compare them. And another thing is too, even when you first move into the place, one thing I wish I would have done with my last place is take a video soon as I moved in, because they charged me for things that I did not do. First and foremost, the stone inside of the kitchen, it had a crack in it on the floor. It wasn't that big of a deal. I wasn't really a big thing, didn't care about it. But when they sent me back my deposit and I asked them to itemize it, that's another thing too. When they send you back your deposit and they don't send you all back the money, ask them to itemize it, which means tell you each individual thing that's a problem. So I asked them to itemize it. Like, what are y'all taking money off for all these things? And they were like, oh, the crack on the floor. And it was a thing of, I couldn't even argue it because I had no proof. So they could say that, hey, you did this or you did that. So even little things you might think of not as a big thing, I'm telling you, keep a recording of, soon as you move into the place, before you put any furniture in, before you do anything, take a recording. Another thing, after you kind of, figure out, narrow down 2 to 3 places you want to move in, visit those places, 1, at night, and 2, on the weekend. Right? Because I recommend at night, because sometimes during the day, places may seem nice, they may seem this. You drive by at night and you like, what is going on? Also on the weekend, you visit during the weekday, it may seem all nice, right? Everybody's at work, or you visit, you know what I'm saying, at a time where it's not that busy. You go on the weekend and you're like, whoa, what is this? So I definitely recommend to do that. A lot of times you're with the person that works there, like the leasing agent and stuff like that, so you can't, it's hard to like talk to other people. But if you can possibly maybe walk into your car or something like that, one thing I've always tried to do is like find somebody that lived there, just outside or whatever, and just like, hey, how do you like living here? Because of course the leasing agent is going to tell you all the great things about it, and then you talk to the person that lived there, they be like, oh, I'm trying to move out, they got this and they got that. So also take that into account. And then when it goes back into like, once you move in and once you live there and all these different things, furniture, that's a very big expense to take into account, right? Getting, couches and beds and all these other things. A place I recommend to look for good furniture prices is Facebook Marketplace. Now, there are certain things that I personally just wouldn't want to buy from other people, to each his own, but for little things, like if you need stools or something like that, if you have like something like this, like an island, there are certain things that you can find on Facebook Marketplace for a great price, because they're, especially during the hot seasons. Now, you might have to put it in storage or something if you're moving during, the colder time, but a lot of people, they're moving and they just want to get rid of stuff, and it's just like, you can't return furniture. You get what I'm saying? I can't return this back to a furniture store. So it's like, but it's like they also pay good money for it. So they're willing to sell it for half the price or just get some extra money so they can buy new furniture. So that's a great thing to also look at, Facebook Marketplace. Now, once you move into the place, some of the questions I recommend to ask your leasing agent, different things like that, that I didn't ask, what's included in the rental cost? So it's not just always rent, right? There's also different things to take into account. For example, me, I have valet trash service. So we have trash cans, like every unit comes with a trash can, and all you do is, your trash fills up, and then later towards the night, I think it's between like 6 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., you put your trash outside and somebody comes, well, we put it outside of our door. Somebody comes and gets it. We bring it back inside the house. I was aware that they had that service, but I thought it was included inside of the rental price. It was an extra price outside of that. And there were just other little things that I wasn't exactly aware of. And they're like, oh, well, no, there's also this and there's also that. So people love to tell you that, you know, this place has so many amenities and so many great things. And that's great. But sometimes you have to pay extra for those things outside of the rent. So ask that question. And then also, what utilities are included in your rent? So first, what's included in your rent? So that usually does with amenities and different things. And it also asks what utilities. So is gas and electric included? Is water included? Sometimes you do have to, a lot of times actually, you do have to pay separate for those things. I've lived in 3 different places. And for me, it was 2 to 3 different situations. I think for my first place, we paid, no, for my first place, we paid rent and then gas and electric are one thing. And then water was separate, so it was 3 different things. My second place, I think it was actually the same thing. I think it was the same thing. But here, it's gas and electric and rent, and then it's water. So it just depends, but it just gives you a better understanding of, you know, all in all, how much you're going to be paying and all these other things. Now, when it comes to, I know y'all like, girl, you just finished and now you want to start from the beginning. Now that you know all these things, but before you even move into these places, before you even do these things, when you are creating your budget for moving in, one of the things I definitely recommend to have is 3 to 4 months saved up of rent if you can. At least 3 months saved up of rent. And when I say saved up, it does not mean just in your account. It means the money that you're not touching. This is rent money. This is money that I'm not touching. This is money. And this should also not be your deposit, right? Because I told y'all your deposit sometimes be your first and last month rent, which is basically 2 months worth of rent. This should not be your deposit. This should not be your rent. This should be money outside, because first and foremost, things always happen. Like we have to understand that things always happen. We never know what's going to happen. You don't want to be in a situation where your money is low. And then also, you also don't want to feel like anxious, because that's what happens to a lot of people, right? When their rent is low, they become very irritable. They become very anxious. They're always sad. They're always this. They're always that. And it's like, because they weren't prepared for this to happen. They weren't prepared for that to happen. And you never know. So it's just like, keep money saved up just in case. You'd rather be safe than sorry. You'd rather be in a situation where you have extra money saved up, even if that money don't get touched till you move out. It's just a simple fact that you have the security of having it and knowing that you have that money saved up. And I say that to say, the reason why I put it in the end is think about that money when it comes to the amenities, the utilities, the everything. Like all that should be thought up inside of there. And another thing I do recommend doing is to, you know, before you move in, it's going to be another budget. Start house shopping like 2 months before, right? Get little things, obviously not furniture, but little things that you can get around your house. If you want your house to have a themed color, different things like that, especially if you're moving in during the winter time, a great thing to do is like start a list of the things that you want, especially the big things. So like it may be a blender, it might be an air fryer, it might be a mop, or not a mop, but like a, you know, soaker sweeper or a vacuum. Put those things on your Christmas list. Those are great Christmas presents. Like, girl, I know you want them Uggs, but you already have a pair of Uggs, so use the Uggs that you already have and get yourself a vacuum, because you're gonna need a vacuum. Like little stuff like that. Well, not little, but things that add up. You know, that's $50 here, $60 here, $40 here. All that stuff add up. So it's like, that's another great thing to do. But all in all, if you are going through this situation and you do, you know, you are house poor, house broke, however people like to say it. I'm not even gonna say that no more, because I really don't like how that sounds. First and foremost, don't stress too much about it. I know people are probably like, girl, that I can't stop doing it. Realize that you're in this position, recognize it, and just put yourself in a position of what can I do to help me, to aid, because I have a lease for a certain amount of time. I can't go nowhere for a certain amount of time. Try possibly doing Instacart. Try possibly doing DoorDash, like little things to get money on the side. And just, even if that helps you more, even thinking about a business, like I gotta start this business. I gotta like use that momentum for motivation. Use it for something else. Do not, you know, soak about it and just get on the routine of just always being sad and being irritable. And people are like, what's wrong with you? And you don't even know. The whole time you've been stressing about your rent. You like, I don't even know. Girl, you've been crying about it for 3 nights straight. What do you mean you don't know? Baby, you know. It's okay. Next, don't be afraid to move back home. I think once you move back, there's always that fear of like, oh, I don't want to move back, or people are going to talk about me, or this, da, da, da. Let them talk. Let them, at the end of the day, like, you want to have a comfortable life. You want to enjoy your life, especially when you're young and you can do things like, even if it's honestly and truly, even if it's like, you know what, I could pay my rent, but I can't keep my hair done. I can't go on vacation. If that's why you want to move back home, you want to start a business and you can't fund it, move back home. Like, I say that to say, don't just move back home. Like, I'm not saying not to use it as a scapegoat, but at the same time, I feel like we live in a society where it's like everybody feels like they're behind. Everybody feels like they're not doing enough. And it's just like, live life for you. Like, have experience for you. Yes, it's cool to say, oh, I have my place and I have a place and I could drink in my place and do what I want. But that girl that lived at home with her parents, she went to Jamaica, Australia, and Dubai in the past 6 months, living life. You know what you're doing? You're drinking wine, crying in your room because you can't afford your rent, or you could only afford your rent. Like, don't do that. Don't put yourself in a situation where you feel down or you feel this or you feel that just to say you have something. Like, it's okay to, you know what I'm saying, go back home, and as well as stay home. Like, take all of the things I said into account, especially when it comes into money, when it comes into the life that you want for yourself, and really ask yourself, am I willing to halt this? Am I willing to not do this and not do that? You want to start that business? You think you can start that business, pay all this money in rent? You want to go to Dubai? You think you can save for Dubai and pay all this money in rent and utilities? And baby, possibly not. So don't get yourself in a position where you're stuck, or don't stay stuck in a position just to merely say, I live by myself. Like, get yourself together, get stuff going, get stuff in motion, find yourself. We're young. I'm 23 years old, and even though I be feeling old, we're so young. Like, I be talking to older people, and they really be making me feel like I'm a baby. And sometimes I be like, yeah, you kind of are, though. Like, I'm 23, like, I'm not even 25. I'm not even 30. No offense to anybody that is. If you are, there's no judgment. No judgment. I'm just saying, for me. Okay? And it's like, even if you are 25, like, we're still young. Be young. Stop feeling like, oh, you live at home and your friends don't, and you, like, live your life. Enjoy your life. Tomorrow is not promised. And yes, your mom may annoy you because she asked you to wash the dishes. And yes, she may ask you to watch your little brother. And yes, I get it. But at the same time, sometimes the good outweigh the bad. There's always things you're going to have to go through. So either you want to go through that at home and being able to experience life, or you want to go through that worse mentally, living by yourself or living with a roommate. A roommate is also good as well. You just have to be weary about that sometimes. But a roommate is good, especially in this economy, because nowadays a 1-bedroom is like $1,800 and a 2-bedroom is like $2,100. It's like, it's basically the same price. Like, I might as well split this with somebody, but you have to be weary. Like, yes, you did watch this video, and yes, you may take these things to account and build a budget and different things like that, which is very important, but you can't trust everybody else to do that. And you can't trust everybody else to budget their money and not spend excessively. And so be wary of that. And also, you don't know somebody until you live with them. Like, you might think you know somebody that might be your best friend, that might be your boyfriend, but you truly don't know somebody until you live with them. So be wary of that. But I just wanted to tell you, like, don't be so pressed to move out. Don't be so pressed. Don't. Because part of me, honestly, truly do wish I could move back home. But the issue is I can't, because I'm from 5 hours away. So it's like I'm going to have to move to a whole different state, and that's a bit much for me right now. So I'm not, but it's just something that I'm willing to put myself through, I guess, right now, while I get things together and get things in order. But, you know, I do wish I could be going on vacation. I do wish I can be doing a lot of the things or having some of the experiences that a lot of my friends have that do live at home. Simply because there's a large chunk of bills that I don't have to pay. And I've been doing this for years, y'all. I'm not just telling y'all this this is my first place. This is my third place. Every place I get more expensive, more and more bills. And it's just, you have to take everything into account. When you're creating your budget, don't forget to don't leave out your life. Don't let these people convince you that you only should be making sure you pay your bills. No, also make sure you're investing in yourself, whether it's physically, mentally, like everything. So when you are making your budget, like I said, like, it's a life budget. It's not, can you afford the life you want? People always say, well, I want this kind of life. I want that kind of life. Like, can you afford that life? Not just that apartment. Can you afford that life? And realize some of the things you may have to not be able to get. You may not be able to get that car, or, you know what I'm saying? Or these different things that you want. But sometimes you have to trade one luxury for another. But I think I just wanted to make this video because I feel like a lot of people are in a position where they just feel like, I have to move out of the house and I have to leave. And I can honestly tell y'all, being somebody that has not lived at home in so many years, like, I miss it. And don't get me wrong, let me not get y'all wrong. I'm not bashing having your own place. I like having my own place. I like being able to do what I want in my house, come in, come out anytime I want. Yeah, there's all these different things, but it's like, what did I trade it for? So there's that, you know? Yeah. But thank y'all so much for tuning into this episode. I'm going to be a lot more consistent on this channel, and moving forward, I just want to create episodes like this, telling you guys some of the things that I went through, any advice I could give y'all, but just all around like my, I guess you could say, glow up transformation journey, because I hate to be that like 2024 new year, new me type person, but like I really feel like that. Like there's so many things that I want to change. There's so many things that I want to implement in my life, like things that I went through, and it's like I don't want to go through again, i.e. this situation. And yeah, so I'm just creating content around that and just helping y'all any way that y'all can. Not just y'all, we can level up our life. So I'll put in the show notes below my last episode that I made, and I showed y'all apps to use to like level up in 2014, whether it's mentally, physically, financially, some of the apps that I'll be using. So don't forget to check out that video. But all in all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we are evolving, we are transforming, whatever you want to say, in 2024, okay? Whether you're trying to get a place, whether you're trying to stay in your place, whether you're trying to go back home and just take some time off and level up your life, that is what we are doing. So thank y'all so much, and have a great one.